the trail. Gross number 1, day 4. See if he'll flush. He's right there. 10 feet. Sometimes if you stop, they'll think that you spotted them, which in this case we have. Perked up. Yeah, he's just gonna sit there. We'll leave him be. Just saw a blackish woodpecker, pretty black, with a yellow dot, not dot, but yellow marking on top of his head, a slash. I'm from Minnesota and I've never seen that bird before, so I'm gonna have to look that one up when I get home and see what it was. I did see another woodpecker yesterday that I don't think I'd seen before, but it didn't have distinctive where I'm going to be able to identify it. But this guy, I'll be able to figure out what he was. But must be a very northern woodpecker because I've never seen him, and I know the Minnesota birds pretty well. So awesome morning so far. It's going down now, but it had been going up an awful lot. I think we're going to cross this river down here, so kind of truck it along. This is Devil's Track River, Devil's Track Bridge. I think word on the street was, and I might be absolutely wrong, that these beams were dropped in here by helicopter. I don't know how else they'd get here if they weren't cut here. So it's probably true. Awesome bridge. Just think back in the day, the hikers had to work their way across this, but yeah, beautiful bridge, beautiful spot. A little realness. I've been climbing up these steps for a minute or two now. It goes around the corner, coming up out of Devil's Track. Yeah, just a little realness. Good morning. Up on Pincushion. It's just beautiful. Off in the distance there, you can see a little tip of Gramaray. And I'll swing around. Lake Superior's out there. You can't really hardly tell where the lake starts and where the sky starts, but look at that. This is what all the hard miles, this is why you do it. Just beautiful. Trees are turning pretty good. Pincushion trailhead above Gramaray. There's nothing too much more exciting about trail than an outhouse, but there is, and that is an outhouse with a garbage can. Awesome. Just across the Gunflint Trail, which is not a trail, it's a highway, coming up out of Grand Marais. And this is looking straight out, and that's looking down where I just came, which the video never does it justice, but woofta. Well, there's the city of Grand Marais. Awesome city. Not, as you can see, pretty much all of it right there. Voyager Brewing is right down there. I think I can see it. I can hear it calling my name. I'm sorry. I can't come to you right now. I will again in the future. I must trek on. And as I look over here, the arrow is pointing up, surprisingly. Onward I go. Oh, it's 12:36. I'm humping up. I just came from down there. I'm going up there. So, nice spot to stop. I just want to say one more thing. I was talking about the training that I did for this yesterday, and I said I had put in 450 miles. I was laying in my tent last night, and I'm like, there's some people are going to hear that and just go, no effing way. But if you do the math, it's really not that bad. If you know, I started in January just going a mile or two a day, or every other day. But if you think about it and you do 5 days of 2 miles, that's 10 miles. And then on the weekend you do 5 miles, then that's 15 miles. And you do that for 4 weeks, you're up to 60 miles. And there's more than 4 weeks in a month. And let's say you don't get that much in, you only do 50 a month, but you do it for 9 months and you're up to 450. So really, it's more about consistency. Maybe you do 3 miles every other day, and on the weekend, maybe you do 4 or 5. But it all adds up, so don't let that 450 scare you away. I didn't want to do that. And yeah, you can do it, and it's more about consistency. And so that'll be the end of that talk about getting ready for this, because obviously I should have done more than 450 miles. 12:50, day 4. Grouse count today so far is 3. Hiking up above the city of Grand Marais. Talk for a minute about how I got my trail name. My first name is Scott, and my trail name is NoPack. And I was telling people that when I was training for the Colorado Trail, I had trained enough to lose enough weight to cover my base pack. And by base pack, people mean no food or water. And so I had lost enough weight to cover my pack, and so my pack was free. All of my tent and everything and all that gear. And so that's how NoPack came to be. Now, my brother-in-law, who shall not be named, Rick, he thinks that my name is NoPack because I don't have a 6-pack. And so that's his theory. And I say, why have a 6-pack when you can have a keg? Anyway, that's why I got the trail name NoPack on the Colorado Trail. Trail names usually come on long trails. Hey, check it out. Pretty sweet boardwalk. Another shout out. Trail names come most of the time when you're doing a through hike, and you end up pacing with people and seeing them multiple times, and that's typically how you end up with one. I did meet a lady, and she was carrying a teapot. She didn't have a trail name. She was doing all the sections, so I thought she was worthy. And I said, if you want it, you are now trail name Teapot. And she seemed to like it, but that's up to her. you don't necessarily have to take it. You can be offered a few by other hikers depending on different things, and pick one up if you want one. But that came to be, and wow, this is a boggy section. I'm just cruising right through here. Sweet. Well, I just got to County Road 6. The river I was counting on, creek, I was counting on for some water. Did not have any water, and I am pretty much out. And there's none ahead. PPP, piss poor planning. The resources are there. I had cell service, so I should have known. But I blew it, so now I pay the price. Because it's showing a creek up there, and that's where I'm gonna go try and get some water. So I'm gonna have to pay half a mile, probably there, and half mile back. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I see that sign up there, steep downhill. You can bet the water's at the bottom, and I'll be coming back up. So, yeah, if you don't plan right, you pay. Okay, back on trail. Got water. It'll get me to the next water, wherever that may be, but it's quite a ways, so I didn't want to go without. Especially, I've been kind of drained the last 3 days, and I really couldn't figure out why, but today I'm figuring it out, I think, finally. The humidity has dropped like a rock today. The trail's dry, the leaves are dry, the trees are dry. The last 3 days, everything's been soaked, even though it hasn't been raining. And you think you know what you're doing, but you kind of just take things as they come. And I couldn't figure out why I was breaking. I mean, I might still be breaking, who knows? But I think I'm figuring it out. And I was just draining off a ton of liquid and a ton of salt and everything else. And even though I did start hammering all that stuff, which made things better, I didn't really figure it out till now, like what is going on. And the humidity now is probably, who knows, I have no idea, but I can just tell it's way lower, where it maybe dropped from like 90 to 65, 70, who knows. Nice breeze up here, and just feels so much better. I'm not soaked, and so maybe that's a good omen to come. I think the breeze is off the lake, which helps lower that humidity. I didn't really never think of it, because the North Shore usually is not humid at all, but maybe up in the woods it is. So onward. This is why we do it, people. Last night I stayed at Woods Creek Camp. There's a nice little creek there, and I rinsed out a lot of my clothes, and no soap, no. And I still should apologize to Mother Nature, but hung them up outside my tent last night, and they did not dry one bit. It was like, why did I even bother, even though it didn't rain or anything? But I just needed to rinse them out, because, oh my Lord, did I stink. It was terrible. I was dropping down into Magny State Park, where it was Saturday, so there's a lot of people. And when you come up out of Devil's Kettle, there's a whole bunch of stairs, thankfully, and about 200 or whatever, I don't know, there's a crap load. And you're really close to people. And one little girl goes, "Mommy, I don't like the Northwoods. And I go a little further, and the little boy's like, Dad, what do skunks smell like? And I get down to the beach walk. I'm walking along the beach, and all of a sudden, all the dang seagulls are starting to migrate south. They're out of there. And I swear, I looked at the rocks on the beach walk. The rocks in front of me were kind of gray in color, and the rocks behind me were kind of red in color. So when you get down to the beach walk, you'll have to check it out because that red might be there for a while. Anyway, thru hikers, yeah, nothing you can do about it. Don't bother bringing deodorant. It is what it is. South Beaver Creek Pond Camp. Here's the water. I've seen worse. You can see that rock is underwater about 3 inches, so it's a little clear. Hasn't been a lot of water around though. So what it'll have to do, come on Sawyer, squeeze, do your thing. I don't want to be eating no beaver poo. One of the first things I do when I hit camp, feels so good. Time to go set up. Okay, let's talk a little bit about water. I just filled up down in beaver poo, and that's this bottle, and this is filtered from beaver poo, and this is tap water, so you can see a little difference. But Sawyer Squeeze is supposed to take care of you. And then this is almost full with electrolytes and water. So I'm gonna drink this with dinner. I'm gonna make dinner with this, but I probably will have to tap into this a little bit, but we'll see. Anyway, should be safe. This bottle, one with the filter on it, is always dirty water. These bottles, these 3, never see dirty water. So fill this one up, filter it into this one. Fill this one up, filter it into that one. So you get it. These 3, always clean. This one, always dirty. But doesn't mean you can't just pop the top and drink right out of there because it's going through the filter. So I just never allow dirty water into those, and then I always know that those are clean, and the filter just stays right on there in my pack. And these bottles, Life Water bottles, you just buy them in a grocery store, full of clean water, and you're not buying them for the bottle, or you're not buying them for the water, you're buying them for the bottle. This bottle did the whole Colorado Trail. These things are like tanks. They just don't break. I imagine sometimes they'll crack and give it up, but I've squeezed this thing to death and it just keeps on going. You can see all the cracks. This isn't all that comes with the Sawyer Squeeze, but it's a lot of it. I do bring these, hardly ever use them. I used them once on the Colorado Trail because there was one section that was like 20 some miles, and so I had to really fill everything up, and I filled 1 or 2 of them up. But this is just in my pack, and it's just extra weight I'm carrying for no reason. So that's the story on water. There's one other thing I want to show you. When you're doing the water, a lot of times I'll stand up over the bottle and I kind of use my knees to help squeeze the bottle. See that little ring? That little baby likes to fall out. So every time you fill, when you're done, make sure you still have it. And because without it, you can't drink the water that comes through. So I do carry an extra one just in case. And the extra one I carry is one I found next to a water source that somebody else had lost, and of course I never was able to identify them, asking around in the camps and stuff, but whatever. So that's the story on water. I think I covered everything. There's different systems. I like the Sawyer squeeze. There's hang systems, but this does the trick. And so that's that. And typically I will only carry, I always drink out of this one. That's my favorite water bottle, and I can reach it from my pack while I'm walking. I don't do a tube. I don't really like those, but I can reach this while I'm walking, so that's what's nice. So I'm always moving clean water into it and going from there, but that's the story. Well, I've got light, and such a beautiful night. Who knows what's going to be in the future. Thought I'd talk just a touch. This is Z-Packs. I'm not repping any brands at all. No links, none of that. I don't play that game. None of that business. I like this tent. It's a little over a pound. It's very lightweight, pretty easy to set up. Okay, why did I set it up right here? One, it was a nice flat little pad, but notice how I kicked it over, because it's pretty flat, but there's a slope coming down, and the slope keeps going, so there's a little slope. But right here, there's a tree, and that's sloping down toward the tent, so it created just this little crevice, because I'm kind of picky. I want to sleep good. So there's a little saddle right in there where I'm not going to slide around. And so that's why I picked this spot. This, what you notice about most of these tents is they're called, I can't remember if it's bathtub or boat, but the deal is, see, these aren't, this ain't touching the ground when you set it up. Because the deal is the sides come up. When I zip this up, the sides will be up a little bit, like over there. And that's what keeps you dry. So in theory, if it rains tonight, water's gonna come down this hill and hopefully go under and by my tent without coming in. So that's the deal on that. My tent, my hiking poles are my poles, and that works really slick. And I get along with this little tent pretty well. So that's the story on that. Okay, I'm going to try and show you the sleeping pad business. It kind of takes two hands to do it though. This is a Nemo. Again, I don't rep nobody. I just like it. Only one I've ever had, but it works really good for me. And what I really like about it is this puff stack. They should have invented these when we had to blow up the floaties back in the day. So you got an opening up here. It's a big bag. You just kind of puff in there. Takes two hands. 2 breaths, and it's full. And then you just start rolling her up and pushing it down. Now I've done 3 breaths already, and it usually takes about 5. So now I'm going to open up this top, and this does a couple things. Sorry for the shaky video. See how full that is? You're not blowing all your nasty mouth stuff in there, and then it's wet, and who knows what starts growing in there. Now I'm being careful not to push on the ground because I'm going to poke this with a stick. So here I go. This is probably going to do it. Push as hard as I can. Oh, and we're done. And then that just pops off. And then there's a cap you put on there if you want to. Otherwise, you can actually adjust the pressure there. So that's ready to go in and rock and roll. And not only is it a little insulating, but it's pretty good thick. And I've never punctured it, so it's held up well. I will say, none of this stuff is cheap. And you can go price it, but hey, I'm older and I got money and I like comfort. And so that's the story on the tent and my pad, and on we go. Which one will work better? I managed to lose my spoon, so I have a stick and I have a toothpaste tube shaped a little spoon-like. Which one is going to prevail? The answer is neither. They had to work together, and then they worked great. The stick would bring the food up to the lip, which the toothpaste could not do, and then the toothpaste could scoop it out, which the stick could not do. So between the two of them, it worked like a charm. Good morning. It's 7:53 on day 5, Superior Hiking Trail. This is Scott, trail name NoPack. Just beautiful morning. I found a nice little breakfast spot here as I was coming down the trail. A little spot to sit. So I thought I'd mention this is a nice little frivolity that I carry, and it doesn't weigh very much. But when you find a spot that's a little damp, if I loosen this up, it's going to be hard to do with one hand here. And then I'll roll it up. I'll show you in a second. So I rolled it up and I keep it kind of handy right there. And it doesn't weigh very much, and it rolls up in 30 seconds. It's got a cool little valve. It blows up in, like 10 seconds. So I use it on wet logs and here, but more so in camp. And yeah, it's a little extra weight, but boy do I love it. It's sitting on the bench. You got a little cush. I also put it right outside my tent, so when I go to crawl in my tent, my knees go on it, and then I crawl in, so I'm not crawling in with dirt. When I come out of the tent, I stand on it. I can stand there and put on my shoes and be there in bare feet and not get dirt and sand on my feet. And so that little frivolity, man, I just love that thing, and it hardly weighs anything at all. So I'll probably talk again about some of the other little frivolities I have. You don't get to have too many. Ounce here, ounce there counts a lot. But there's ounces there that, do I need them? No. Do I really like them? Yes. I just left a nice little breakfast spot. It's day 5, it's about 8 o'clock. Heading down into Cascade today. And I'm actually meeting, my wife and sister are coming up. And they're going to pick me up at some point. And I was looking at the map, and it's either Cascade or another 8 miles, I think. But I'm going to have to take a closer look when I get down to Cascade and when I get there. So it's either going to be kind of a light day. It's another 8 or 9 miles, actually. A light day or boogie train day. I'm loving my pack because I had started with 5 days of food, and I'm now down to just today's food. And my pack is much lighter. This morning is just beautiful. It's a nice little breeze, and so onward I go. Grouse count, day 1 was 12, day 2 was 8, day 3 was 1, I believe. Day 4 was 3, and I've not seen any today yet. And I've been seeing some moose tracks, some yesterday and some earlier on way up in the North Tournaments, but have not seen a moose yet. And we'll see. You gotta get pretty lucky nowadays. And wouldn't mind seeing a wolf. And again, you have to get pretty lucky for that to happen as well. I'm not scared of, the moose. You gotta be careful depending on where you are, but get behind some trees so you can dodge around. And when I come to little road flashes like this, I always glance down and glance up, hoping to catch me a critter. But beautiful morning and marching on. just had a cool experience. I was coming up a hill and had stopped for a second to look around / catch my breath, and a pine marten came running down the trail right toward me down the hill, and it was going right down the trail, and I just stood there. It was so cool. He came right to within 6 inches of my feet, and he stopped and he looked around. He knew something wasn't up. He never looked up at me, and he didn't know what. He went around to me on my right, and I tried to make a little sound and stuff, try and stop him so I could maybe get a picture or a video, but he kept on boogieing. But I got to watch him run toward me down the trail for about 30 feet, and when he stopped right at my feet, I'll bet he stood there for 5 seconds. He was about 1.5 feet long. It was really cool. Can you hear that? It's a grouse. They usually do that right before they fly. I can see him on a log. He's hopped down now. He's a ways away. Yeah, he's walking away. Another one jumped and went down here. Yeah, I hope you could hear that. Usually once they go, yeah, he's running down there too. I don't think they're gonna fly. Usually when you hear that noise, they're gonna take off. It's 9 o'clock, day 5 in the morning, and got out of camp nice and early this morning at 6:30, so I've been at it a little while. I don't usually look at the maps too close, obviously. I didn't pay attention to the water needs along this section. I would camel up at whatever river I come to next, which I believe might be the Cascade, but whatever it is, before you start heading toward the, I can't remember the name of it, I call it Beaver Poo Pond, which was a nice camp. And you bear water up there because it's a long ways beyond Pincushion to water. Anyway, just saw grouse 1 and 2, and I've been basically going uphill all morning. It seems like back in my day, we had to walk to school. We didn't have no Ubbers, and we couldn't use the interweb to get a ride, and it was uphill both ways. Yeah. Day 5, 11:51, and I'm working my way down on what I would call is the south side of the Cadence River. I'm starting to learn that just because you're dropping down a river, there's a lot of ups, because all the little fingers that feed into that big river, especially the major rivers, you kind of want to go up and around the heads of them, and so you don't necessarily just get to drop. There's a lot of up. I met Donna, trail named Peacenik, this morning, and at about 9:30. It was a good bit ago, and she was looking forward to at least a half a day, if not more, in town. See if I don't die here. And I do believe either she was really cruising this morning, because I know where I saw her, and it was a long time ago, or she was hiking by headlamp this morning, so I think, and or both. She's probably fast and left early because she was looking forward to a town day. Well, certainly looks like a spot. I need my poles. Anyway, shout out to Donna, she's kicking butt. And I know it's going to be hard to see how steep it is, but I'm going to talk about hiking poles later. But here's a really good example. This rock is actually very sloped, and it's down about 1.5 feet from me. That's how steep it is. And I just want to show you what the carbide tip on the end of this thing will do. You can see a few scrape marks on it, but I can put all of my weight on that pole and it's not going anywhere. Now I'm going to start tilting it back full weight, as hard as I can push, and that's what them tips will do. And I can tell in the video, and there it finally slipped. But when you're coming down, you can really trust these things. Now, would I put it there? Probably not. I'd put it there, but that's a carbide tip. I'm almost down to the Cascade roadside parking lot where I'm going to get picked up and get to spend 3 nights in a hotel. And so tonight, going to spend the night in a hotel. In the morning, get dropped off right down here where I get off, and slack pack, which means day pack. That's slack pack for the day, and then get picked up in the afternoon, go down, have a beer and dinner. Next morning, get dropped off wherever I get off, slack pack again, so I get slack pack for 2 days, which will be awesome. I was just doing a late 11's lunch here, or breakfast, or whatever it is, and beautiful spot in the shade. And then if a person wanted to, and I kind of do, but since I'm almost done, I'm not gonna. The river's right here, and you could just sit on one of these rocks and soak your feet, and all that swelling would go down. Yeah, just a beautiful spot. So anyway, I'm almost done for my day, which is nice because I had thoughts of being able to go further, but I should know better. Still dropping down Cadence to the parking lot. I'm still on Spear Hiking Trail, but I was just thinking that this would be an awesome shakedown. Test out your gear, test out yourself, see if this is something you'd be interested in trip, because it's a loop and you can go up a few miles, cross the river and come down, but there's a couple really nice camps up there. It's a beautiful place to hike, beautiful river. It's named Cascade for a reason, and you'd be able to test out your gear, test out yourself. There's some real challenging parts, and I assume, I haven't been down on the other side, but I assume it's more of the same. Here we go. But look at this. It's challenging enough that I think it would give you a good idea of what hiking the Spear Hiking Trail, if you're going to want to do the whole thing, what it would be like. And you get to see all the beauty of this. You could do it in a day, just go up and down, but there's a couple nice camps up there. Go camp, hang out, come back down the next day. And not a nest. It's a, I don't know, disease isn't the right word. It's called witch's broom. $99 bottles of beer on the wall. Nope. 96 bottles of beer on the wall. 96 bottles of beer. Take one down. Spread it around. 95 bottles of beer on the wall. 94 bottles of beer on the wall. 94 bottles of beer. Yeah, you got it. came up on top of Overlook Mountain above. I got dropped off at Cascade, and this is a camp. This is actually through the park system, so it has to be reserved and paid for. There is another SHT camp in about a mile, but there were 4 photographers down at Lookout Mountain. I took a couple pictures, but they had gotten up and were trying to get a good sunrise and get good shots of the trees, and the sun is kind of there but not fully cooperating for them, so they're hoping it peeks through, because it was really a good looking morning. So if you reserve this site up here, it's awesome. It's got a picnic table and a little cabin there, and you're only about 100 feet from Lookout Mountain, and there's a rock outcropping that you could sit there and watch the sun go down, watch the sun come up. It'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, SHD, which way? That's hiking club. Yeah, see if I missed a blaze. Oh, there's one going that way. Hiking club. Oh, I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll have to let you go, make sure I'm on the right trail here. Okay. Yes, I did take the wrong turn. There's been just 2 a little bit confusing intersections up here. They weren't super well marked, but this one, the hiking club trail, was actually quite smaller, so I should have known better. And I was able to figure it out within 100 yards or so. So in the first instance, where I was a little confused, I took the left because there were 2 big trails, and it was the right choice following the hiking club, coming up from going southbound, coming up to Lookout. And then once you get up to the top and you go past the little cabin, which I'm coming up to again, evidently you want to go to the right. And you can see this trail is way more overgrown, so I thought they might actually meet up with the hiking trail for the kids. And I'm on track, I'm sure. And I'm sure I'll see a confidence marker here pretty soon, but I mean, this is a much huger trail, so that's kind of dumb. It's around 8 o'clock. I got dropped off at 7, and it's kind of cool. Sometimes you have to remind yourself while you're out here. I already met a grouse this morning, and I saw a bunch of waterfalls, and I got all the way up top of Lookout Mountain and got to look down on the lake. And you know, you look down at that lake and it's like, hey, I just left way down there an hour ago. And so when you're, I mean, that's cool. Like, hey, I kicked butt. I got up there. It's a beautiful morning. I love hiking in the morning. And you gotta take those wins and remember why you're out here, because there's a nice cool breeze. Hello. And it's just super nice out here. And this is why we do it. It can get grueling, but mornings like this, it's like, yeah, I know why I'm out here. Super nice trail. Slowly going up. Actually got up to Lookout Mountain in 40 minutes, so yeah, hey, for me. I'm slack packing today, so normally my pack would be in the 30s, 30 poundage range, low 30s depending on how much food and water. My pack today, I don't even know, I can't hardly feel the thing, maybe 5. I'm carrying 2 things of water and my day's worth of food, a rain jacket, and a couple other little things, but super light, just cruising. Yeah, when I came up this morning, I was going up along the Cascade River, which is Cascade State Park, and all of the state parks in Minnesota, or most anyway, maybe all, probably, have what's called Kids Hiking Club, and it's a really cool program for people to get out. The hikes are challenging, but not overly challenging. I would guess that most of them are in the 2 to 3 mile range, but they go to really cool places. And so each state park pretty much has 1 or 2 of them. And there's a book. It's like a passport book, but thick. And every state park is in there that has Kids Hiking Club. And then when you get to the top, I actually didn't see what the symbol was, but there'll be an animal up there, symbol of an animal. And then when you get back down to the state park, if you go in there, one of the rangers, well, you just tell them what animal you saw. And of course, you know, nobody in Minnesota lies ever. So you wouldn't really need to, you could just tell them that you went up there. No, there's an animal. And then you get your book stamped, typically with that animal. And it's kind of cool because as parents, you go to all these different state parks and kids get all their stamps. You see some really cool sights, and it really gets your kids into hiking. So super duper program, highly recommended. If you've got kids, I would say that, well, I have no clue. You know what your kids can do. If you just poke along and you go up there and have a little lunch and look out mountain and see those beautiful lake and beautiful trees, your kids will get hooked on hiking quick. So that's the deal about Kids Hiking Club in Minnesota. Well, good morning again. It's day 6. Southbound Superior Hiking Trail. I'm hiking up Lookout Mountain. I've come up to 1,200 feet from the lake's at 600, so I've come up 600 feet. And this is where I'm going to take my morning break. Check that out. Check out that small little pack. Woohoo! But here's my morning breakfast view. Yeah, don't want to go down there. Check that out. Kind of shooting into the sun, but as I swing around, I'm going to step back a little as I swing around. Look at that. I think maybe those guys are getting some good pictures. But yeah, beautiful. So this is where I'm going to take my break. I think I've got another 300 feet of climb to go yet. But it's been super nice climb. And I started down on the shore down there this morning, hour and a half to get here. Very nice. Okay, quick little blurb here for newer hikers and or old people like me. A young person's just going to buzz right up this, and I actually could buzz right up this, but you pay a price for that. Video doesn't ever show that how steep it really is, and this isn't super steep, but you could cruise right up this, but you need to save your legs for the rest of the day. And so what I do, it took me a long time to learn this, is I'm just taking, I put my head down and I'm just taking like not even 1 foot steps, 6-inch steps maybe. It's hard to see, just a little bit past my other foot. Very slow up and down movements. So you're not using your thighs as much. And you just put your head down and you'll march right up this nice and slow. You don't get out of breath. This is not the place where you're making up time to finish the trail. This is a place where you are conserving energy for later and not busting your legs. And so this has been a pretty good climb. But when I reach the top, because I'm taking these short marching steps, it looks like curves keeps going up, but not much. But anyway, not a huge hill, but big enough. And I really didn't expend too much energy as I huff and puff. Okay, we just talked about conserving energy, going up the really steep hills, taking really short steps. Now this is just the opposite. It's a nice light down climb, so I don't need to use my poles. I'm not going to wreck my knees. If it's too steep, now you're stopping with your knees and you wear them out. But now I'm on a really nice, smooth decline, and this is where you beat feet. Long steps, quick steps, and this is where you pick up your time. If it was steeper, wouldn't work. And nice and cool up here, breezy, and this is where you cruise, baby. What a beautiful morning. It's about 9 o'clock, day 6. I climbed up. I'm pretty much at the top. You get to run the top. It's around 1,500 feet. And there might be an overlook up here at the end. But I climbed up here in about 2 hours, which is awesome. And for those taking notes, very friendly climb. Just a nice incline. A couple of little spots where you have to scramble, but not much. I'm still going up a little right here, but this is kind of what it's been like. And so, yeah, if you're coming into this section, looking at the climb, it's not bad. You will really enjoy it. Like I said, this video series that I do, what I'm going to do, is going to be long, but I kind of want to try and cover pretty much everything. It's more for a newer hiker, someone who's thinking about it, someone who's done a little, maybe thinking about doing a long trail. And so I'm going to try and get into everything. There's a lot of videos out there that cover this trail. They're going to be way shorter, but I am going to try and cover everything. So some of it's going to be, if you're an experienced hiker, it's probably not the place for you. I'm also kind of doing it for folks that maybe, they aren't trail runner, kind of, the aliens that live among us from other planets that will go by me like I'm standing still. It's not for those folks really either. So I was just going to I'll probably talk about these shoes a little more later. These are trail runners. These happen to be Speed Goat 5s. I do believe in trail runners versus boots, but hike your own hike. But they come in 2 versions, and that's what I want to hit on quick. One's waterproof and one is not. And there's an argument that the ones that are not waterproof will dry out quicker, so that if you get them wet, they'll dry out. I'm not a fan, and specifically for the reason that's happening right now. Mine are waterproof. I don't find that they take a long time to dry out, and I'm trudging through very wet leaves right now, and my feet are very dry. So if I wasn't in waterproof, my feet would be very wet right now, and that would be the case a lot of the time. So trail runners, and from my perspective, waterproof. I'm dropping off Lookout Mountain now. Beautiful morning, very cool out. Leaves all over the trail, super nice. Just met a northbound thru hiker that started at the south terminus down below Jay Cook, so he's doing the whole thing. Shout out to Whiskey. He's boogieing. He has a shuttle set up for Saturday at 3, which gives him, it's Wednesday, so he's got all of today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and half of Saturday. And so he, in 3.5 days, he's gonna do what took me 5. And that's cool. He's boogieing, he's laying down the miles. Which brings up the subject of his schedule. He's got a shuttle scheduled for 3 o'clock on Saturday, so no matter what happens, he's gonna be bound and determined to get there, and he will. And he probably will do it with ease. But schedule or no schedule, it's very hard to do it with no schedule. But I very much prefer not having to stay on a schedule and having options. Like in this case, I expected to lay down way more miles than I am. And so my whole schedule is going to change. But I had my wife and sister coming up for a little vacation for 3 days, so that gives me options. Before my wife came, I called her and I told her, grab all the Mountain House meals in the basement because I'm going to need a lot more than I planned for. And or if you have the option, drop into a town and pick up what you need if your schedule is, if you're behind and it's going to take you longer than you thought. Now, it's not always possible. In this case, Whiskey's got to get to work, so you know he's got to stay on schedule. When I did he did the Colorado Trail too, by the way, so we had a really good, he did it 2 years ago and I did it 3 years ago. We had a really good chat about that. Awesome trail. And he had an awesome moose encounter on trail, which was neat, as did I, on the Colorado Trail. Anyway, nice meeting another Colorado Trail person, and it kind of explains why he can boogity. And anyway, schedule. I did have a hard schedule when I did the Colorado Trail, and there were times where I just had to buck it up, and especially I had made a mistake in my schedule. I have no idea how, because I had checked and double checked everything, but I was a day off when I was going to meet some friends, and so I had to lay down 64 miles in 3 days, and was able to do that because I happened to be in a fairly friendly section of the Colorado Trail and meet them. And so I prefer not to do schedule, but most time you have to. One thing I also prefer is to get in a hotel every 5 to 6 days. I want a shower and I want a bed, and I can afford it and I like it, and so I try and schedule that in somehow. You can hitchhike, talk about that again later, another subject, and or arrange for friends to meet you, which I also really like, having some friends, human contact every 5-6 days, other than the awesome people you meet in trail, which is plenty of, it's just cool. Anyway, so I had arranged for places where I could get off trail, so I had to hold to a schedule. But there is a little hack you can do there, is I would arrange my schedule. Here's Spruce Creek. Camp off that way. Trail must go this way. I'm gonna pause. Now I got plenty of water. Anyway, about schedule, a little hack. I would, if I was gonna stay in a hotel or something, I would plan it where I would be coming into town in the morning. So if I was on schedule, I would have the whole day in town, and it would be a nice break, and I'd be able to be in my hotel, hang around town, have some lunch, blah blah blah. If I was behind schedule, it actually gave me a day to catch up. So I'd either be bouncing into town at 8 or 9 a.m. or if I was behind, I would be getting into town late. But it basically allowed me every 4 or 5 days. It gave me a full day of flexibility, and so that worked pretty good if you do have to schedule. Oh lordy, I'm willing to bet that we just came from right over there. We went down, there's a lake. I was looking for a place for second breakfast, and so this looks like it. I will not be sitting with my feet dangling over like almost everybody else would. Check it out. If you see a crotchety, chubby, 63-year-old dude jogging through the woods up in the middle of nowhere, you will know that it is slackback day, and it is so nice. Upper 220s for weight probably, and dropping quick. So yeah, not a slimming, but fit. And no, I'm not jogging. But I'm enjoying slackback day. I probably got to think about it a little more, but in the future I'm going to talk about things that might take you out on trail, and this just about did it for me. I was cruising along, really boogieing, and I don't know if you can see them, but you see somebody trimmed off those 2 stumps, but they're sticking up about 3 inches in the leaves, and I hit it and just about bit it, and that's all it takes. But I got lucky. I was wearing my poles and I didn't bite the big one. But a lot of things can take you off, and it can just be a little thing like that, and it is what it is. Yeah. Ha! There was a grouse in John Vick, if that's said right, Kemp. It's late morning on day 6. I just met 4 very nice ladies on trail, and they're day hiking, and I was thinking about their plan, which is an awesome one, and it would make for a very good day hike if you're coming up the North Shore. There's 4 of them, so I don't know what they did, but I imagine what they did. They were going down the Cascade where I started this morning. They probably parked a car or 2 down there, and then they drove back and up Caribou Trail, which is a highway, and parked up where Spear Hiking Trail crosses. There's a trailhead there, and so they're coming mostly down, but it's not no cakewalk. There's a lot of ups too, and it's a very nice, you're kind of going along the top of the ridge, and you get all the grand views, and then when you get down to Cascade, it's a nice trail, and you get all the waterfalls. It was a dang nice day hike, and a really good plan that they had. So if you're thinking about that, there's a good one. Got up to one of the many high points along this little ridge. As much joking around and visiting as I've been doing, it has been a hike. Got to keep it real, but look at there, nice little bench, and there's first lunch, and this is what you get to look at. That would be Caribou Lake, and she's a beauty. A little while ago, I met a fellow named Burton a really nice guy, and he's doing the hike, the whole thing, in 3 parts, and his goal was to do 100 miles a month. And if I remember right, he said he did 100 in July, 100 in August, and now he's finishing up with his 100, and which would be the end of September, beginning of October. And I thought that was awesome. And I asked him what his trail name was, and he didn't have one. And the deal on that is, I mean, you don't kind of just get one. You typically would be hiking with people or in the same camp with people for a few days, or hike with somebody for a while. It was a little harder on this trail to get them. And Burton was absolutely worthy. And it's not up to me whether to judge that or not, but I felt, Burton, you need a good trail name. And of course, I hardly know him, so it's a little hard, but I thought, you know, I told him, I said, you can take it or leave it if you want it. I said, I think your trail name should be 3X or 3 times 100, because basically that's what he's doing. And he said, oh, I love it. And so, Burton, if you choose to take it, you are now 3X or 3 times 100, and well earned. May not be mine to tell, but Burton is a good bit older than me, and I'm 63, so props to you. This is West Agnes campsite. Ventures are lower than most. Real nice bearing there. A little climb to get up here. I gotta make sure that this is up to code. Check it out. Getting to the top. This little ridge, and I think the trailmaker brought us up here for a nice little, kind of nice little view. Few too many trees in the way, but she's a beauty. So this is kind of a cool spot. That is the Poplar River right down there, and I believe East Poplar is going to be down in those trees, and we're going to go down to it, and Lake Superior's over there, and we're going to curve around this mountain here, and it's going to bring us to Lutsen Ski Resort. So we're pretty high, but what's interesting is we're seeing the backside of what would be called the Lake Superior Ridge. You know, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I know a little about a little. And you don't get to see the backside too often, unless you try. You're usually climbing up on the ridge to look down at the lake, which you can kind of see there. And so a lot of times you're up on the ridge, you're looking down at the lake, and you're on beautiful overlooks and stuff, and you don't see the backside. And the backside, there's a lot of nothing, or a lot of really cool, depending on how you look at it. It goes a long ways. You got the Boundary Waters off that way and north of here, and you got Superior National Forest is all kind of, it's a lot of pretty rugged country. But the ridge basically runs, I would say, Minnesotans kind of go north to south, but Lake Superior actually runs, oh, what would it be, southeast to northwest, so it's a little bit confusing. But if you're listening to me, typically north is up, going toward Canada, and south is south, going down toward lower Minnesota, and that's where it doesn't run north-south. But cool. trail's been so friendly today. It's breezy, it's cool. Hey, there's some SHT trail sign. Pulls up when you're walking across this. Stick a pole in a crack and you lose a tip. Anyway, what I was going to say is this trail's been so nice that these are the kind of days that you just love, and I just going to have to look back on this day in the future. I just know it, when it's raining and I'm soaked and I'm slogging in mud and pulling up some hill with slippery rocks. Please remind me about this day, and hopefully that day isn't going to come, but you know, this is a day I have to think back on and remember. Look at this, how they're saving the environment, they're making it easy for me, and it's just all good. I remember I was talking about in the future when it was raining. The sun's out, but it did just rain. Wasn't serious, but it was enough to make everything wet. And so I just sat under a big cedar, probably 500-year-old booger. Stayed dry, didn't put on any gear. I don't want to because it's too dang hot. And but now everything's wet. And I just want to say, remind me in the future when I'm talking about poles of this moment, because my right pole just saved my AAS, and I absolutely would have went down. And so I was glad I had it on, and I felt instantly a little tweak in my back, but I feel absolutely nothing after that one moment. So it could have been bad, and it wasn't. And that right pole saved me from some kind of harm, because when this big boy goes down, something usually happens. I guess I'll show you West Poplar because there was no marking. I thought this was a trail, so anyway, looks like a pretty nice little spot. I'm not seeing super pad sites. Could work out something, I'm sure. Oh yeah, there's a real good one right over there, and there's a good one by that rock. So there's some. Probably something up there. Well, that's West Popular. Here's another view of what I call the backside. We were over there to the right. I don't know if we were on those. That might be where we were. Or they're right up there, but I'm not 100% sure. That's looking down that same valley from a different perspective, so I believe that's where we were. We, as in me and the turd in my pocket. Beautiful. A little while ago, I just unknowingly pulled out an old joke that came up with my family, because my dad, rest in peace, I'd say something along the lines of, should we chop up some wood, or should we mow the lawn, or should we sweep out to the garage, or whatever. And he'd look at me and go, what do you got, a turd in your pocket? Meaning you. So, love it. Dropping into Lutsen. My wife and best friend joined me for about the last mile. She kicked butt coming up here. And can see Lake Superior, can hear the river down below. And way up there is ski lift for Lutsen. Just beautiful. I didn't notice a second ago, but see there's a gondola that runs, especially in the fall. People can ride up and see the beauty of the leaves and the lake and everything else. So you can kind of see it running over there. But you can put that on your to-do list or hike up there and earn it.